Hi everyone, today I thought I would share a little project that I made this past weekend. I have been without a computer for over a week and I finally got my new one this weekend, yay! And so I've been working on transferring things over and getting it back to normal. And so I couldn't make a video for a week because I had video that was still on my phone that I needed to add to my computer, and I had no computer. Trauma for me anyway, but I'm happy to be making a video today. And what I had made recently was a project in my journal, and I do a little art journal. Normally I paint or draw or whatever, but I did this page because I was thinking about Ukraine, and their flag is I don't know if you know, their flower is the sunflower, and their flag is based on the sky and a field of sunflowers. So that's what, and then I was going to do my journaling up here in the top. So I made this for my journal just to be thinking about what's going on right now in the world and on my mind and my heart. So I made this page, and then I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun, and I thought, you know, I could do the same thing on a card. So I did. And then I thought I wanted to share with you how to do that. So here we go. I am using just all white cardstock today. There's two different kinds of Stampin' Up! White cardstock. there's thick, and then there's your basic cardstock. And I like to use thick when I'm using it for a base of a card. It's just a little bit thicker, hence the name, and so it stands up nice to opening and closing, and it just makes a nice solid base. And then the thinner cardstock is still a nice thick cardstock. It's not like printer paper or anything. It's just a tiny bit thinner, and it's super ultra smooth and really nice to stamp on. So I'll use that for my top layers. And I wanted 2 layers. This one is getting nothing done to it. It's just a matte layer, and I just liked it for extra depth, a little shadow line. I like the look of that. So I've got my base, and then I have a piece 4 by 5 1/4, and then I have another piece that's 3 3/4 by 5. And those are my 3 pieces of cardstock. I'm also going to use a little strip of scrap for my sentiment. Okay, and then the stamp set I'm using is Celebrate Sunflowers. It is a really pretty stamp set. I'm happy that it's going to be carrying over into the next catalog that comes out just a month away. Exciting. May 3rd is the date for the new annual catalog, and this will be in it. Very happy to see. And it has dies, and I'm using this sunflower right here. And it does have a die, and I love using my dies. For this project, however, I did not. I will use it because I want you to be able to see that you can. The problem is when you cut out a stamp with a die, there is just the thinnest outline all around it. So I cut out mine with scissors because you need to create a mask. That's how you're going to get these layers of sunflowers behind each other. Okay, so let's get out my stamp. I got a stamp here. I'm going to stamp in black. I'm going to use Memento ink because I'm going to color with my Stampin' Blends. You don't need to use your Stampin' Blends. You can color with your Stampin' Right markers or watercolor pencils or regular colored pencils, whatever you want to use. So this is the stamp I'm going to use. Here's the die. I already cut out 2 masks. Actually, I cut out several because I have some real dirty ones from when I did my journal and my card. But I also didn't cut this one out because I do want to cut it out. I want you to see the difference between the die and just hand cutting it out. Some people don't mind hand cutting things out. I don't mind hand cutting things out. It's kind of therapeutic in a way. But if you hate cutting things out, you can still do it. Okay, so this is a Post-it note. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware, I learned, well, not too long ago actually, that Post-it, the company 3M, is now making Post-it notes. You know how they used to be where only the top strip was sticky? And so, actually I have some of those. You know, just the top is sticky and the rest is just regular paper. Well, they started making them where it's all sticky. And then just this tiny bit is not, so that you can peel. So that's what I'm using because it's so nice to be able to have it lay flat and not worry. You don't have to worry when you're doing that final sky step. we're going to be using a sponging, and you don't want to flip open. So anyway, I'm going to show you that when we get there. But I like this full-on sticky Post-it note now. In the new annual catalog that comes out in May, I've seen it already, and there was a really cool new tool in there called masking paper. And I don't have it yet. That is going to be on my very first May order. And I bet it will be something similar to this, full-on sticky. So I'm looking forward to that. Because it's hard to find these Post-it note full-on stickies. Okay, so here's what I mean by that thin little outline around the sunflower. And so here's my hand cut out one. You see I didn't cut out that. But there's a way to work around it. When you put this down, you're just going to kind of scooch it in a little bit from more than you intended. You're going to just kind of take it, put it, line it up, and then pull it a little bit further. I'll show you that when we get there. And you can still use your die cut one if you prefer die cuts. Okay, so we're going to use the smaller of the basic white pieces of cardstock and the sunflower. And the first layer is simple because we don't have to mask anything. So we're going to ink this up really good and get down our first layer of sunflower. So you don't want to go over a sunflower, but you can get awfully close. And you want your field to look natural, so you don't want them in a perfect line. One might be low, like that. Because if they were all lined up perfectly, that would look funny, right? That wouldn't look correct. Okay, now we have to mask these. So here's what I was talking about with, this is the one that has the outline. So I'm going to put it where it goes. I can kind of tell because of that leaf. And then I'm going to bring it down a little bit so I can see the outline of the ink coming through. And obviously it's not going to work all the way around because like down here it's way off then, right? But because that's hanging off the page, it doesn't matter. So I've got it just in a hair from the line. Now these I cut out myself, so they're a little easier. And I can lay them directly on the line. Even these though, if you can get them slightly inside the line, you're going to do a little better because you think that these are so thin, this paper is so thin, that it's not going to leave a gap, but it really does. It's amazing. Alright, so let's get this one down. Okay, so I've got my masks down, and now I'm going to do my second layer. And you can turn your leaves. You want sometimes to see a leaf. Now I want this to look like the Ukrainian flag, so I don't want a lot of greenery. I want a lot of yellow. So I don't even want a whole lot of the centers, but that's kind of difficult. So you're going to have some of the brown centers. Alright, so I got that one. And now I'm going to turn this. Now I can't go over this one because, I mean I can move that over. I could have done that to start, but I'm going to do that. Let's see. I like that one because it's hiding a lot of that brown center. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move my masks. Now sometimes you need to leave a mask. Like I want to leave this one here because I'm going to go in the center here and I don't want it to go over this one. So I'm going to actually have mask upon mask upon mask. This is extreme masking. Alright, that's the way this one goes. Okay, and then I'm going to move this one up a little bit. Isn't that nice? You've got that covered up. Alright, let's see. I don't know where this one, I think it goes like that. And then this is that one that has the outline, so I'm going to pull it down just a little bit. So I've got three all in one little spot here. And I'm going to stamp like that. Okay, and then let's leave this one there. See, these get so full of layer upon layer. Let's move this one over here. Okay. hard to line up what petal is what petal. There we go. And then I think I can move this one here. There we go. I want to be careful not to cover this one, so I'm kind of watching that I don't go down too far. And I have one leaf up. That's okay. You do want to have a few. Now I want to make sure it's blue, yellow. So we're right about there. I think I can only put this one more. It's a half and half. Now, if you're not worried about it being more like the Ukrainian flag, you can have sunflowers go even further up. Okay, so, and you can do the same thing with a lot of our stamps. Maybe I've done a few. I have a video with one that's cookies. A big plate of cookies, extreme masking. You can look through my videos for that. It's from the Nothing's Better Than stamp set. Okay, so here we have. Now, I want to show you up close. Even though I used my Post-it note and you just really have a hard time getting right up on the edge because that Post-it note still has a little bit of give to it. It's a little tiny thin layer. So see, they're not always right up close. I've got a gap there. That's okay. You can decide that you want to take a marker and fill in those gaps. You don't even have to, because I have gaps all over here. And I don't think, I mean, yes, here I have some really big ones. But I mean, I had to point them out to you, right? They're not that bad. And someone's looking at this. I'm going to have my journaling on here. This is just my private journal. But here's my card. I might have some gaps on here as well. Here, I just kind of colored in. I let the brown extend down into this little gap area, and I didn't even worry about it. So it's up to you how much you want to worry about it. I don't think you have to worry about it. I think the image itself is good, and that's the main thing. So here it is. Okay, now save these because we need them for when we do the sky. Okay, so now I'm going to color them in. All I did was grab all my yellows of Stampin' Blends. So if you're using Stampin' Right markers, you can do the same thing. I'm just grabbing all of my yellows. So if you have the marker family, you can use, there's Bumblebee, Crushed Curry, Daffodil Delight, any of those would work. And then I'm using my, I think it's called Bronze marker from the Stampin' Blends. And I wanted one more. Dark Soft Suede. Okay, there we go. Now there's also Cinnamon Cider, but that's retiring and I'm not sure if they're still in stock. And then for the leaves that are popping out, I wanted a bright green, and so I went with Granny Apple Green. And I tried really hard to not have a lot of green. There's a little bit of green there, there, and there. Okay, because I just didn't want that to be the focus. So let's get rid of those leaves while we're thinking about it. Okay, so I've got one here, and I'm just doing light Granny Apple Green. And then I'm going to go back in with the dark Granny Apple Green and give it some, there we go, some accents. Here's another one. Oops, that's the dark. That's okay, it's a tiny one. And then we've got this one. Okay, I think technically there's another one over here that got in that gap that I was talking about. And I think this is one poking out from over here. So let's finish this one. The dark. And I'm going to ignore this one and let it be yellow. So, okay, that's it for there. Now for the centers, I'm going with the bronze. So that is this one. And let me, okay. So I'm just going to go over the centers of the sunflowers. And I'm not worrying about doing all of it. I'm going to even have yellow go over there. I really want that yellow to be the color, so you can see that I'm leaving white spaces. I'm not worried about it. We'll see what happens. Okay. And then I'm going to take, let's see, what is Dark Daffodil Delight. Let's use that one. And I'm even going over the flower centers, but with just the dark yellow, because I want this to be a yellow and blue scenario. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to take that dark soft suede and just give it some dark highlights here and there, some seeds, darker. Okay. Here we go. Now I'll do the rest on fast forward so that you don't have to watch me color every single center of the flower. Okay, I'm finished with my browns. Now I'm just going to grab my yellows. I'm going to start with my light. So I've got So Saffron here. And my So Saffron is a little dead. I teach classes, card stamp camp and card buffet, and I do bring all my materials, and sometimes they get worn out from lots and lots of love. So I do need to get a new So Saffron. Okay, so I just wanted to give kind of a base in the saffron. And I'm going to take the dark So Saffron. See how this one is. Might not be any better. Yeah, it's a little better. So I'm kind of doing lights towards the tips, and then I'm going to get darker towards the flower center. And I'm trying to just not have them all be a uniform color, so that's why I'm just kind of being sporadic. You could take the time to do each and every little petal separately, but I think there's enough going on here. As long as I have a little bit of difference here and there, then I'll be okay. Some dark, some light. And now I'm moving on to Daffodil Delight. I don't know that the light will show up. Let's see. A little bit, but I think we'll go move right into the dark Daffodil Delight. Alright, here I'm going to be a little more careful because now I'm adding just the highlight, and I want to still show some of that light petal towards the tips. So I'm starting the dark closest to the seed center and letting the tips of the petals still be that lighter yellow. Okay, there is my sunflower layer. Okay, now we need these masks again, and you're going to try to put them across here. Okay, now you can see that I need more, and I did cut some more from when I did my journal, so let me grab those. Alright, and see, I like to look for this overlapped one. There's so much going on here that you can't see it anymore. I think it's there. Nope. Not it? Nope. That's the hardest part of this whole card, is trying to find, here, I think I got it. Oh, wow. Trying to find the correct petals. I think I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to get close. Okay, I need a little bit more here. And I just need a tiny bit there. Let's see if I can. I'm going to cheat a little bit and just cut any little jagged petals. Because I just need it for this tiny little petal right there. Okay. Now, you want to be careful not to get down here, and there's so much craziness going on, it's easy to forget where your line starts and stops. So I grabbed an extra Post-it. Now this is not a full Post-it, this is one of those that's only at the top, so you have to be careful. And then I'm going to use my blending brushes. Oops, there's a little one. That's these little brushes here, and Pacific Point is the color I'm going to go with for my blue. We have a lot of new colors coming in. You know, we get 5 new colors every annual catalog, and there are several new shades of blue that I'm really looking forward to seeing in person. I think my pre-order comes tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Alright, so I'm using my blending brushes, and what you want to do with these is you ink them up. Now, if you don't have these, you can use sponges. That would work nicely too. And then you don't want to go straight onto your project. What happens is you kind of get that first initial thump, leaves kind of a harsh line, and so to get it softer you want to start off your project and either on over here and just kind of circular motions on the way here. You can start here and go up, just so long as you don't thump right on your project. It's really hard to blend out that initial thump. I'm just going to call it a thump, and we're going to even if you think you're careful and you go slow, it's still hard to blend it out. Now you can add more and more to get as dark as you want it to go. And when we lift this up, there might be a line that's white that we just didn't put our petals down properly, and we might have to go over a little more. And I'll show you. That happened on my other card too, but it's okay. Alright, I think I'm going to leave this just here. Let me do one little, might as well get the rest of the ink off my brush. These just rinse right under the sink, so obviously I didn't get all the ink off my brush. Okay, let's see how we did. Okay, when I didn't line up that one, I got a little bit off, and this one's a tiny bit off, but I think it's okay actually. I think I might leave it. Let me see how easy it will be to line one up over that. Like I said, it's hard to line these little petals up. I don't know that that's worth fixing. Let's see. It's hard to get that exactly right. You can tell yourself that you don't need to be perfect. I'm going to try one more time. I have this little tiny piece here. I'm living on the edge here. because I didn't clean over, I didn't cover any of these. I'm trying to put my finger there just so I don't go there. Alright. Now these areas are so much lighter. Okay, I don't think this has to be completely smooth either because this is like a sky and we don't have the, we have a yellow sunflower going on here instead of solid yellow, so I think it's okay that our blue is not super solid. Alright, I'm going to call that good. It's really pretty, and I think that a lot of people will know what that is. Okay, field of sunflowers. Sometimes it's nice to create art that kind of goes with what you're feeling, and those images coming from Ukraine are just so sad, and so anyway, this is something I can put on my refrigerator, help you remember to say a prayer for Ukraine, or you can send it to somebody who you know, maybe who has family there, or just to kind of keep it out, or it's just a pretty background. So different things you can do. I think it's a fun technique, that extreme masking, I'll call that. So I'm grabbing a scrap from my scrap bin. I'm not quite sure it's going to be big enough. Let's see. It is big enough, yay. Alright, so I'm going to have it come off the other side this time. So I'm just going to kind of give the end a little banner end, like that. And then I'm going to stick this up on dimensionals just to give it that nice shadow edge, a little matte look. Just kind of elevates it a little bit, I think. Look at this, has just the tiniest bit on there. I'm going to use that for my sentiment. There, now I can get rid of that little scrap. Now my fingers are blue. And I'm going to lay that down on my matte piece. And you can decide, do you want to go down here? That'll kind of help cover up any spaces you might have. Or do you want to break up the blue? I think I'm going to break up the blue. Okay, careful when you touch your card if your fingers are super inky. And I'm going to put this one up on dimensionals as well. All right, there you go. I hope you like it. This one I put a bow on. This is a discontinued ribbon. I think there's some on the clearance rack right now. It's called Daffodil Delight Ruched ribbon. There might be some still left on there. Take a look at what's on sale right now. If you go to Stampin' Up, check out my website. I'll put a link under the shop with me kind of link underneath my header here of the video, because there's a lot of things on sale. As we have a new catalog coming, that means we have a lot of stuff retiring. So you're going to check out what's on sale. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll subscribe and come back again. Bye.